If you need the water, check the beaches in the Carolinas. If you need the mountains, try the Appalachian Trail. If you need the redwood trees, gotta go to Yosemite. If you need me, 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 I'll be in Kansas City.
Welcome to Kansas City Limits Radio. I'm Robert Bierce, one of your hosts, and today in the studio we've got the old number fives. And before we learn a little bit more about them and all they offer and what they got for your ears, we want to thank our sponsors. We want to start off by thanking Kansas City RVs, voted in 2023 the number one RV dealership in Kansas City by the Kansas City Star. Area Musicians Promotional Resource, AMPR, Black Moon Media, our TV production partners, Briarcliff Business Partner Alliance, a networking group since 2009, and BriarFest 8, September 8th and 9th at Mackin Park in North Kansas City, a free-to-attend event. You'll see the old number fives there. Knuckleheads Kansas City, we want to thank them and all they do for our show. Kansas City Limits TV and radio, bringing you original live recorded music from the Kansas City area with original artists. Soundworks Recording Studio here in Blue Springs, Summit Video, S&S Printing, B4 Productions, and Midwest Music Foundations. Welcome to Kansas City Limits.
Thank you, Robert. That was well done.
Jay, how you doing today?
I am outstanding, brother. Thank you. Your voice carries.
The weather's good today.
Yeah, it's good. Well, welcome, Brock Alexander, to the show.
Thank you for
being
having me.
here. Oh, man. Well, thank you for coming.
Such good applause.
That's our crowd. Don't laugh at me. That's our crowd of people.
Brock, let's go ahead and introduce the rest of the band. I'll let you kind of be the voice of the band for today. So.
Yeah, because they're phantom. They're not in the studio.
They're here behind me. They're speaking in each ear on my shoulders.
We'll
so
say Adam will be the devil. Ollie will be the
earpiece,
angel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
This is your chance to talk about anything you want about them. They can't keep it. It's going to be on the radio. This is either cookies or bad things.
As an aspiring DJ / comedian instead of musician, I'll just keep it to the facts.
A facts only, man.
And so the banter will be very low level today, so don't worry about it. I'll do my best. But on the drums, we have Adam Watson from Junction City, Kansas, Kansas State University.
Boo.
We've on bass we have
There's nothing wrong with the Wildcats.
John Oley, Andrew Martin Wilder Bowden the 14th.
Holy hell!
That's
what
gotta
are
be
you like on his birth certificate? How do you know that?
Make sure I can do it. John Oley, Andrew Martin Wilder Bowden the 14th.
Holy hell!
Nailed it. From Lawrence, Kansas, and Oregon Duck. In fact,
really,
Oregon Duck. Yes.
His ancestors came over with cattle, probably.
Yeah. 14 of them, apparently.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
That is so cool.
And
If he's a friend on Facebook, and always look at that. They're all spelled together. It's kind of like you guys probably don't remember Jack's, but they had this deal behind the bar. It was all these words together, and everybody's fucked up and trying to listen or watch it, and they're like, and they figure it out, and you could just see them all, Same thing with Ollie. He's got 10 names on there.
Very similar, but that's actually his real name. So
yeah.
Excellent.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
It sounds like some indecisive parents. Fuck it. You get 3 names. I get 3 names. Together, we'll give them 6 names. You get to pick the first 3 names. I get the last 3. Deal?
In the best of ways, too.
Is that an English thing?
I have no idea. I thought it was Spanish, actually.
I thought it was a Pakistani divorced Asian Muslim Chinese Yugoslavian thing.
All of them.
Yes, it's a very complicated thing. In the United States culture, because there's a lot of misogynist pigs, we make them take the last name.
Or they just change your name.
Or they say no.
They just change your name in general.
Yeah.
On my great-grandparents, my last name is misspelled, so I won't get into it. I'm not counting things like that. But
Dude, that's part of that witness protection program.
It's got to be fun,
about.
too, yeah.
Yes.
Well, and by the way, Ollie is the
And actually, I've got to
player.
correct it. It's Oli.
Oh, Oli. I'm sorry.
It is like guacamole.
To his face, I call him Ollie on several occasions.
I'm sure he's
I
gotten
know,
that
over
a lot
BB's, in
in
fact.
his
You know,
life.
Ollie is the name of a very awesome melatonin company.
But it's
It's
Oli.
Oli.
It's
Oli
Oli.
is the bass player for Old Number Fives, and a hell of a bass player by that.
And they both sing, and we're trying Oli to get him to sing a song for us. Just something like "Brandy on a Western," whatever, something
Right,
like that.
right.
I got
Maybe
a great,
show tune.
Yes.
a great picture of him I shared with him. One of the, I think at BB's. I don't know where I saw him, but you guys were playing Warwick Theater.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was up there, and it was wintertime, right?
Yep.
And of course, his hair was long, and
That's
so
what I
he
was just going to say. He's got the best hair.
Yeah, and it was down. I mean, it was like, who is it? Is it it or the thing?
No, Cousin It. Yeah.
Cousin It, right?
yeah.
It's just hanging down.
But
So-
again, more beautiful. Like, just imagine that.
and so I got a great picture of him with his hair just down like that, and him just slapping that fucking bass. It was just
Unkept? How do you look like that? This is just how I look.
Yeah.
You don't use conditioner? No.
Oli has great hair.
There it is.
All right, let's jump into this. Again, thank you for being here, Brock.
Yeah,
and the Old Number Fives. We love you guys. We try to get out and see you. You're regulars at BB's, and I know you're playing at Nux quite often. And I will say that
Knuckleheads, KC.
I did get to
Knuckleheads.
see last year. Howard invited me. We'd done a show with Fox 4, I think, and then after that, he's like, "Come down. We're doing the deal with the Allman Brothers. You guys were Madmen and Mad
Joe
English."
Caquer.
Oh my God, it was
Mad
so
Dog and
good.
Englishman, Joe Caquer.
You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
You obviously practiced before that, didn't you?
Very little.
Oh my God, it was so good.
I know, and I think those are sometimes we've done that with some band tunes. And Adam was even talking about this as we were driving home this weekend, and he was like, "Man, you did a really good job on that one song, that band song. Like, we should play that." And I looked at him and I said, "I have to relearn it. I have no idea." So sometimes, as much music as that I do stuff by osmosis that I'm like, I don't even remember playing that, but I kind of just like from childhood remembered the lyrics. And then other songs that I specifically try to learn, they can just like a fart. And it's like, what happened to that? I learned it. Somebody else was like, "Hey, I saw the video of you. You did that song." I was like, "No, I didn't."
It was outstanding.
It's like your cerebrum cortex forgets we're just going to use his fingers,
I
and all of a sudden it takes off.
Muscle memory.
Yeah. What was that? I don't know. Shut up.
I blacked out. What happened?
That was the Alexander that was misspelled.
That's fine.
Okay. I want to talk about this was one of your talking points that you sent me is live your dream. Can you tell us how to live your dream?
It starts by finding out what you are good at.
I'm going to take some notes if you don't mind.
And if what you're good at is what makes you happy, and you can create a little circle of things or people around you that help facilitate what you do. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to do other things, like to make money, because there is the real world. But if you can find a functional circle around you to create what you do that makes you happy, then you just do it. And so in any capacity, I'm a business owner of a band. I get to go write music at my own pace, albeit I wish it was to larger audiences of people, but I get to write and record music. I can promote myself as much or as little as I want to. I can have a wife and a family and still get to go out and perform my own music as well as music that cover songs that I enjoy.
So you're not being sarcastic when you say you're living the dream.
Very serious.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. That
Kind of tears me up, I'm not going to lie.
I think that you should put that on
Zoom in on that, please.
on all the videos that get put out there or all the pictures. We should tell Angela next time she starts taking photos of you is there's Brock living his best dream. Living his best dream.
I mean, it's not what you maybe as a kid, like, I want to be a rock star. There's pitfalls and shortcomings to all of that.
Sure,
but I feel like if even at a certain point, like if I was any more successful, I'd be gone more.
right? You trade things. We've talked to people that are gone all the time, and a lot of those people, their relationships are different. They don't have normal relationships with like people, family, partners, and then the people that do have relationships in that capacity, those people really, really, really are tolerant of helping them, being supportive. So it's weird like that. It's the other thing too in music. I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago about this, and like the songs that really affect your soul the most, that you love the most, are the ones you'd love to spend all your time telling everyone about. But it takes that one silly, stupid song that everyone else gets on, and they're like, man, I love the hook and everything. That's great. And then that starts the catalyst for them to be curious about your other stuff. And then that gives you the platform to talk about what's really close to your soul. Trying to make money and be happy and keep everyone happy and do music. Holy shit. That's a trifecta, baby. You did a good job. You did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to jump into number 2 because I know you're going to want number 3.
Okay. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Okay. So in that same vein, though, we're talking about the band. We're talking about,
a workman's band.
Yeah. You guys, you're booking for most of these gigs, right? You're doing a lot of this yourself, and you're going to have opportunities all the time, I'm guessing. So tell us about what, number one, all the gigs that you're booking right now. And then if you get to a point where, you're fortunate enough to have multiple gigs, right, that are being offered to you, and how you go about, selecting.
I would just say that, and this is.
Do you take all gigs? Let me ask you that.
Yes and no. What's your budget?
That's a working man's question.
I don't know how to describe it though, but like time takes time,
Right.
And I've been performing, and I discount all of the like things that I thought were nerdy. Like my mom's an elementary music teacher, so
rock on.
And she teaches piano lessons to this day, like at the house. Like she always taught.
What's
piano.
Mom's name?
Michelle.
Michelle Alexander.
Michelle, you rock.
Don't tell anybody else. Don't fucking tell anybody else.
I love
but
Michelle.
Alexander is just my middle name. Schween is my last name.
Go back to that undercover
so
shit.
that's the Schwein. That was
witness protection
misspelled.
thing we talked about.
So Michelle Schween.
Michelle Schween.
And she's also
Thank
in
you,
the
Michelle,
witness
for all
protection
you do.
program as well.
Is, yes. But like she claims she met my dad. My dad just played bass in the band, and like that's how he stayed out of Vietnam, because he was in college for 8 years, and he just he ran around in like Wichita, and so growing up, like music was just what I had to do.
Right.
Like after school in kindergarten, like I went to my mom's classroom, which was the music room, just full of music shit.
Oh,
So I just got to do whatever. But then when there was anything that was happening in the school that was music related or the area, it was like, okay, funneled through the music room. Like there's the piano. Like, so when there was like auditions for choir, there's a guy in Kansas who's in like the Kansas Hall of Fame, but his name's John Levitt, Dr. John Levitt.
Yeah.
Out of Wichita. But anyway, he had 3 kids, young kids, and he had this like master arts chorale, which was adults. And then because he had these 3 kids, he was like, I want to start a master arts youth chorale. So the auditions for that were in my mom's classroom. And so of course myself and my sister had auditioned for that shit. And of course we got in. And so I spent like 3 or 4 years when I was probably like 3rd grade through like 5th grade. And I was like, I don't want to be doing this. But after school on Wednesdays, it was like choir. And it was
no
like
choice.
And like the year I quit, the next year they went to Carnegie Hall and performed. So it was like that level of like shit. But so like, that's something I describe all the time, where it's like I discount that music education that I got because I thought it was kind of nerdy and I wanted to be out playing football or baseball with my friends after school. But instead I got to go do that. And so now I just like take for granted, like, well,
are you glad that happened?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I mean,
absolutely. But I'm just saying it's like weird how I discount certain things. Like I went to a recording school in Arizona where, like you wish it was all about just like you're a avant or like savant, and did I say it right?
Sure.
Savant. You wish it was like that, like people that were just like genius musician shit. But otherwise, most of us have to work to get to that level. So I went to, I was an English major. Graduated, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do. I kind of want to do like music stuff,
Right.
And at the time, this was like 2008, I was still basically playing old number 5 shit, just with different people and in a different capacity.
Were you playing at KU?
Yeah, I mean, I was playing at the Jazz House where, I mean, I still play at the Jazz House. So it's like, that's what I mean too, as far as like, if I'm playing music, that's living my dream.
Right.
Sure, I wish that was at Arrowhead Stadium, making shit tons of money like Taylor Swift, but
oh goodness,
I mean, I'm still living some capacity of what I remember.
Yeah, you know it, but you're doing what you like.
Yeah,
and you're doing it at your speed that you like.
Well, I mean, just like everybody's got a different journey, and so sure, I wish I was fucking the Beatles at 18 like they were, you know, like in Hamburg, just taking speed and drinking and playing music for 12 hours a day. But it's instead, it's like
speed.
It's like, well, you know, I've been playing music, and you know, again, like I went to this recording school in Phoenix for a year.
Okay.
Then I moved to Los Angeles, and I lived there for about 3 years.
Okay.
And then the old lady got into physician assistant school.
Right.
And so she moved back to Kansas because it's half the price to go to school in Kansas as opposed to California.
Sure.
But so there kind of just came a point where it was like, well, if you're going to stay with this girl, you kind of got to make some decisions about life. You can stay in LA or you're going to.
Right.
And I wasn't necessarily doing what I wanted to do in LA.
Right.
I was playing very little because there's just no money there's not like bar gigs like there are here.
Right.
And I'm not discounting when I say bar gig. I mean, gig is a gig, right?
Right.
But there are more places,
absolutely.
opportunities.
Swinging doors here.
We talk about that on this
situation.
show all the time.
Yeah,
how Kansas City is
yeah,
just like that.
Places. Yeah.
But so I made the decision to move back, and so I was working at I worked at a recording studio like Westlake, you know, Michael Jackson recorded Thriller there. But I was
the
just
one in Phoenix.
So this is in LA.
Oh, okay.
When I moved out there, so I was only in Phoenix for it was like 10 months, because you know they like, hey, we'll teach you about recording and all this shit, and you know, so I know that's an RE20, and I know what microphones are, but at the same time they just kind of push you through the doors.
Yeah,
I remember the guy
Did you pay to go to that school?
Oh yeah. But I got tangible things, you know, like I got a laptop and I got, you know, like software, like Slow Tools and stuff. So I'm perfectly capable of like doing that stuff now. But that's what I didn't necessarily know at the time, being younger.
Yeah,
it was like at the time you're like, now I'm in the industry and I'm working at this really cool studio, but it's like I'm the guy getting the fucking food, you know.
Yeah,
and I'm there and I'm around it and I see people's work ethic and how people record, like hip hop artists always like come in end of the night after the club and they just order food, and then, you know, they're like, oh, we're not getting anything done, we're just going to go home. And it's like, well, somebody's paying that food budget, but you know, when they didn't eat their food budget, we would order the shit. So it's the circle of life.
It is a circle.
That's why I learned a lot. And then I got a job at a post-production studio, which was very cool, just a different facet of audio, you know, voiceovers and stuff.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was living the dream because in a different way, like I was getting paid corporately, like I had benefits and stuff. And I'm like 25 at this time, out there living with my girlfriend, now my wife, but like we're in LA, we're having a great time.
Right.
But just kind of became a point where she needed to do and wanted to do that stuff. And
you got to grow up, damn it, eventually.
And she was working in Beverly Hills, you know, and it was fun, but it wasn't like a job that the future, you know.
Sure.
So
it's like you're one of the worker bees. You're the worker bee.
But, you know,
yeah,
I learned a lot. And then when I came back here, it was immediately like, I'm going to get back to playing. And so basically since then, that was like 2012, like January 2012.
Okay.
I've basically been the old number fives and then, you know, doing other things to make money when I need to.
So
and that stuff happens too. But, you know, it's basically like I've been doing what I'm doing now for a decade. And so when it's talking about like booking or anything like that, it's like I have 10 years of, honestly, it's just making relationships with bar owners and club owners.
Yeah.
And also knowing that if I had $1 for every club that is no longer in business or the place is defunct or people have changed hands,
right?
Like you can't win 100%, you know,
Sure.
like you got to understand your expectations of like, this might be cool now, but you know, time takes.
So when you came back 12 years ago from California, did you reach out to other people or did you just start accumulating this set of what you were doing in a limited format in LA, or did you just start over scratch, just putting the whole thing together?
So I knew another drummer who I had performed with before I moved out, actually.
Okay.
I just reconnected with him, and our biggest challenge was always like finding a bass player that kind of worked. And so, not that didn't work, but we just kind of a revolving door.
Consistent one.
Sure.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was just about going to jams in Kansas City. That's
right.
Every member of the band that I've ever been in, I've met at a jam. I mean, that's just, and so that shows you right there. It's like, well, those are sometimes late nights without like fruitful, if you can call them that, things.
Yes.
But you meet people, and it's like, it does take time of your life to go do that. But it's also like, I enjoy playing and meeting people. I'm probably a little bit more inclusive now that I have 3 kids. So I tend to like, if I'm not going out to do something specifically, I'm like, I need to stay home just because.
You need to be the dad.
I guess.
How old are your kids?
I got twin boys that are 5.5 and just had a baby girl who is now a month old.
What's her name?
Congratulations.
What's her name?
Lennon.
Oh, man. That's
Hey,
awesome.
so you know why she was named?
Lynnnon.
You know why she was named Linnon?
L-Y.
Lennon. You know why, don't you?
Because my wife's middle name is Len?
No, because because when it's time when it's time to make you do extra work around the house, she'll say, "Go pick up the linen."
Maybe.
And you'll go outside to take out the laundry, and she's talking about getting the baby.
Yes. She'll be an adult before I know it. That's the problem. So I'm trying to enjoy the fact that I'm very tired. And
my daughter goes off to college in a couple of weeks, so it's a
congratulations.
It's a congratulations relief and a bitter cry because she's my movie partner and my buddy, and we do a lot of stuff together. So
that's beautiful, though, man.
Yeah,
she's good people.
She's good people. She's a solid person. I feel prototype number 3 is going to do the best. She's my 3rd kid, so
I guess we love all of you, though. We love each of you, all the kids the same.
Hey, let's go back to 2012. 2012, you're back in Kansas City.
Yep.
How does the name Old Number Fives come to be?
You know, honestly, this is what I said earlier. It means what you want it to mean because I don't know what it means.
There was nothing.
I mean, I think
we were drinking, said it out loud, and it came out.
We were drinking Jack Daniels, and basically just change the 7 to a 5.
Chicago has what is it? The old number 10,
old style, something like that. I mean, the thing about it is,
I've seen that sign.
Aren't
somewhere.
you concerned that the old number 6s are going to come out and be better?
There
than
is,
the 5s?
I immediately just Googled it and made sure it was
Since you
available.
trampled the old number 4s.
The thing is I've never even heard of the old 97s. But there's a band, a country band, the old 97s.
Yeah. Well, they started out as a 5.
They're going to be
years ago.
at Sandstone with the Avett Brothers and Troubadour.
Troubadour.
Right on.
I'm going to that show. I just bought my tickets yesterday.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I always miss all the good shows because we're playing shows.
I know.
Do you like Tyler Childers?
Honestly, I've never listened to him.
My good God friend. Take advantage of that. This man on the Turnpike Troubadours, the Mavericks, Tyler Childers, all those bands, they're all worth a
Paul
listen.
Thorne.
But today we're in the studio. I want to remind all of our guests we're at Kansas City Limits Radio, and we are with our friend Brock Alexander of the old number 5s. We're so glad you stopped by to see us.
Yep. Indeed we are.
Thanks for having me again. This is beautiful. Thanks for the hospitality.
We
all we
appreciate
could
you.
afford was Pabst Blue Ribbon. So
that's fine.
And the
actually,
we've got more beer.
We have replacements.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your creativity with the music in the world, because one of the things, to come back to Kansas City and then you're going to start doing music. You're going to start doing this thing. You hook up with your friends. There's 2 things in business, which you are a business person.
I pretend to be.
You have to be constantly optimistic. Business is going to be good. And you constantly have to remember to give great service or you won't have no business. It's kind of like the same thing in a band. Like, are you guys consistently working on your art? Who's the motivator? Who's the creative ting that in your band, or is it a combination of all you? And how do you guys create that sound? Is it usually lyrics or is it instrumental that sparks that origination of that song?
So I would say that the majority of any band is just a conglomerate of everybody's musical, what they soak up, what they listen to, what they like, what their style is, even how they perform. I listen to very different music than Adam and Oli. And when we're in the van, that's the best part about being in a band too, is if you have a van that you guys get to hang out in, because you don't want to have to hang out. But sometimes you do. So when you have that time and you get to trade around who gets to listen to, hey, let me play you something. Right. You get to know them more than you would any other way, because like music is kind of like, you keep it close to you sometimes, like you're not always like, man, I had a good cry to that song, like, or whatever, so like we all listen to different things. And so I would say that as the lead singer, I'm probably the driving force as far as like coming up with just, I mean, for me, again, all these things like the choir, and I played drums and percussion, and I had to audition for like orchestra percussion.
Right.
But again, it was like I was also playing sports and pretending to be cool while I'm also playing marimba in high school, you know?
So let's touch on that real quick. So you weren't really overly expressive about all your musical attributes and stuff you were doing, because that was really almost kind of associated with mom.
No, I mean, I was, but I think it was just something I did. And so like when opportunities came up,
right?
Like when I'm in high school, I was in band, I was in jazz band, I was in choir. And in choir, they found out that like I had an inkling to want to play guitar, and I had an acoustic guitar. So me and the other kid that played acoustic guitar got to go into the office and just fucking play guitars while everybody else had to sing. And so it was like, this is kind of a cool little get out. But then by the time I graduated, it was like at my graduation, I specifically remembered I played 3 of the like 4 musical things where like I sang one song with the choir, and then I got up and I accompanied somebody on guitar. Right. And then I got up at the end and played like an original song with 3 other dudes that we like jammed, like the high school band.
Sure.
And so like I remember getting up 3 different times, and like the kids in the row were like, all right, Brock's got to get out again. Got to get to the fucking stage.
The teacher called him out to rock.
And so like, again, I've just been performing, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. But like, you know, and when I went to KU, so I graduated high school and I'd been performing all the time. And my mom even like paid for me to record some stuff at a real studio, you know? And so I got like 4 songs.
Like Soundworks?
And like very much so. And I did 4, like I did a Beatles song, I did a Weezer song, I did something else, and then like a Pete Yorn song. And anyway, like I still have those recordings.
Pete Yorn.
And I just sound like an angel. I sound like Art Garfunkel. Like my voice doesn't sound like this now.
Right.
I was just beautiful.
You were still
angelic.
Yeah.
I didn't drink or smoke, Mom. I promise at that time I was sober.
Right.
Anyway, so I did that. And then when I went to Lawrence at KU, and I was kind of scared for a little bit because, you know, a little bit of a bigger pond, I would suppose. But I just didn't really I didn't know how to do that as an 18-year-old. And then when I was
playing in front of people,
I mean, just like how do you get up? Where do you go find these places to play?
How do you get there?
How do you introduce yourself to somebody and be like, hey, look at me, like I play guitar? And
you start by pulling on their pants, like you go, gee, mister, how do I rock here?
I mean, honestly, what it is the same shit. I'll tell you,
damn meddling kid.
I'll just tell you right now, though, like it was, I went to the Jazz House for an open mic, like acoustic night, and I had 3 songs ready to go. There's probably
Cocked and loaded.
Like a Sublime song, a something else, and something else. And then I did it, and it was like, there it is. But then it was funny though too, because, you know, after a couple times, like everybody there was like, oh, there's that guy. And it kind of became this thing I just did on Wednesdays. Right. And then I found out they did something on Mondays that was like full band. And then so I had the courage then from that Wednesday thing again. And then from that point, it was just, again, not easy, but it was like, oh, there's a guy who plays bass. There's a guy who plays drums. Hey, I got songs.
But you're pushing yourself now.
I'll sing. Yeah. And then at that point, it's like, okay, now I'm getting paid a little bit. Like, that's really cool. And then, you know, like you just learn by doing or making mistakes. And I moved away in 2009. So I'd been playing for about 1.5 years. And I thought I wanted, you know, like more, which I did. But like I went and did this recording school thing and I learned a lot, moved to LA. Wasn't playing as much, but I was doing all this other stuff that now.
Where were you playing? Were you playing in Arizona before you moved?
I would just, same thing. I'd Google blues jams and I would just show up to jams and like I would get like little one-off gigs and stuff like that, but it wasn't I didn't have the longevity there. I don't think, you know, I was only there like 10 months. And then in LA, I would go down to, so I did a little jam. There's a couple ones in the Valley that I would go to, and those would be like super late nights.
For sure.
And that would just, but as a 24-year-old, you know, I'm living there with my girlfriend, and I would just be like, hey, I'm going to this jam tonight. She'd be like, well, I'll see you in like 5 hours because I don't want to go to that. And I would drive to the Valley and put my name on a list and just sit back and just wait my turn. And a lot of the times it sucked at first. I remember specifically, like there was 1 or 2 times where They were like, and that's the end of the night, because I didn't make myself known to those people. I just like sign up and then kind of like disappear into the corner.
Yeah.
And so it's weird too, because I learned from that. I learned that the guy who looks homeless gets up and just like blows your mind on guitar. And it's like, well, you got, I guess, have more than just the guitar, because this guy looks like he's falling apart, like he's great at music, but you know, and then, so you got to make yourself known. And then I came into this little blues jam in Hollywood with some guys. And, I mean, I still kind of talk to a couple of those guys.
Cool.
And they were all older gentlemen than me, but it was like a blues jam in Hollywood at the Pig and Whistle.
Nice.
Pig and Whistle.
I don't even know, but
What kind of crowds?
it was like honestly a room this size. And so it was in the back, like what used to be the speakeasy, but it was just
20,
wild.
30 people.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's wild though too is like Kenny Wayne Shepherd showed up one night because he knew. And so it's in a room like this where again, like Jerry Cantrell showed up one night.
Man.
It's like, what the fuck is happening right now?
I love that.
And so like, it's cool. But then again, you know, I think there's just a time and a place where I probably knew I was going to come back to the Midwest just because I'm from here and shit like that. And so as all this is happening, and I was like, you know, kind of just realizing to myself, it's like, man, I can go anywhere in the country and just look up a blues jam, and then here we go. And like, you know what to do, go do it. And then find your way and make people.
4 more years of school, you were there.
I mean, I mean, even in like LA though, like when I left, like I was getting more opportunities, but I just didn't see it as a, financially. It's like I would go play that blues jam and make, you know, $25.
So, you ever heard of a place called The Station in Memphis?
I mean, I have not.
So like it's a bunch of guys, they sign up, but they sign up the day before.
Oh, okay.
And then they actually sell $5 pitchers and like $10 pizzas. They don't charge any door charge. And it's just people around their local that jam.
Mm-hmm.
And there'd be like 14 violinists, 3 cellos, 2 stand-up right bass players, 3 harp players. I mean, it is a mosh posh. And people are standing out around the building to get in to check out, because it's known for Nashville. You know, it's known in Memphis, you know, we're going to go check out music. But what's so funny is that none of these people know each other. And one of them will just kick it off like it's their deal, like a jam. And they'll just kick it off, and then everyone else knows what key it is. They start following it. They know the progression of it. It's pretty beautiful.
Well, I also think too, like even those settings. Like
then that includes everybody.
Yeah. But I mean, the more you do that stuff, the more you start to understand different circumstances when you're on stage. You know, there's an etiquette to a point.
You made the point of, you know, that gig only paid $25.
Mm-hmm.
However, here you are, you know, a dozen years later talking about that gig and what you learned in those days, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you can't put a price on that. So you made maybe enough to buy some beer, but
no, I mean, and honestly, like it was just wild too, because like you know how life works, and the guys who were in that kind of started it that I knew, I remember specifically we were at a jam in the Valley, and they got up on stage and handed the guy, I'm not going to say his name because he's very successful, but I was always a little shy of that person. Anyway, they got up and handed him a card. You know? No, I don't. I'm not even remember. But anyway, like
make up a name
like
for
an
him.
A-list guy. So his name was Sugar Ray Rayford.
Okay,
and so
Sugar
like
Ray
hosting
Rayford.
this jam, and so like A+ list, like blues entertainer,
right,
international, whatever. But I was always like, he's a very intimidating dude, and I was kind of scared. But anyway, these guys handed him a card, and he's like, yeah, no, we're gonna get the Allen Brothers up, and they've been hosting the best blues jam in LA. And he kind of looked at it, he's like, no, you're not. Anyway, they just kind of started this blues jam. But I mean, even something like that, I don't know why I remember that, but I remember that, like, you know, you get to a certain point, certain places, it's like, you can go ahead and fib, because you need to fib to make somebody aware of you, because if you don't, you know, make that impact, like
you got to act like you've been there.
Or just like, hey, if to get an interview, to get a job, if you have to fib and say, yeah, I'm bilingual, and then you get into that interview and they're like, it says you're bilingual. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I didn't.
We thought you asked if I was bisexual.
But then if you got that interview, you better charm the pants off of them to get that job.
Right.
So I mean, but if you wouldn't have checked that box, you wouldn't have even got through that first part of the process.
My mistake. I just like chicks.
Exactly. But so there you go. Learning something like that. You know, it's like, hey, maybe you need to make a little splash, bro.
Right.
Instead of like putting your name on a list and skimping around.
I mean, I'll just give you a difference, like on a resume. A normal resume that someone writes would say, learn counting, know how to process underwriting information, scope of work. I know the inflation. Handled millions of transactions daily with a 10-key system made by Sony.
Yeah, nice plug. Hey, real quick. Again, we're in the studio with Brock Alexander with the old number fives. Again, Brock, this has been a lot of fun. Old number fives will be featured
at Briarfest.
Yeah, they'll be at Briarfest on the Saturday show. Right?
September 9th.
September 9th.
9th,
yes.
they're there.
On the main stage.
Main stage? Wow.
The big 30-foot by 26-foot, 2-story covered and lit.
Yeah.
It's
You didn't
the
have
same
to do
stage-
that, but thank you.
It's the same stage they use for the Chiefs celebration.
I'll be there.
Shazam.
We'll have you in a green room before, too, with lots of
Libations.
drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
And
No
Well,
drugs. We don't
No,
know. We don't
wait a
believe in
minute.
drugs.
No drugs.
No drugs, just alcohol.
Okay.
Drugless.
Yes, drugless.
But anyhow, we've got them on the Kansas City Limits TV show that will air. I'm going to say that thing's probably going to come out mid-September. I think we're about 6 weeks in production on those.
It's beautiful. That's when my boys turned 6, so maybe it'll
fantastic.
coincide.
So we're
Perfect.
going to be
Gather
very excited
around.
about that.
Kids gather around.
We have gotten a little bit of traction with that show. It's done pretty well and growing. In fact, we've just finished out the year with booking bands to do that TV show, but we're excited about having old number fives on that.
And that's every other Sunday on the KCW channel 29 here in Kansas City.
The CW. That's
the
right.
CW. And then every once in a while, we're on Friday nights in the morning at 1:30 or something like that.
It'd be Saturday morning at 3 a.m.
So when you guys are done doing your gigs at Saturday morning, please run to the TV.
Perfect.
Actually, we're pushing people to the KCL TV right now because it's getting more traction. Just because a lot of people have cut the cord to cable. So we're finding that they're pushing them more and more. The last analytics for last month, oh my gosh, it just jumped off the table. We have
Excellent.
a lot more people. I haven't seen any analytics from KMBC to suggest that we're doing anything, but we do have the largest viewership of that time slot.
Now
which
I'm nervous.
We beat out the
world is watching.
the air fryer and whatever else was in that time
We beat
slot.
out the Foreman air
Yeah.
fryer and we beat out the stinky stank air freshener
I'm going to
system.
make sure to say that tomorrow, too.
So we're in good company there, but
We're climbing.
KCL TV, and that's not from just what we do. It's from the bands that are out there pushing it as well. That was my concept when I created that whole idea was, the bands, yeah, certainly they can use some help getting some plugs, getting some exposure. This creates more of a promotional video that they can use, but really we can push it all we can, but it really helps when, we just aired Stranded in the City, Andre and those guys. And
Just saw them on Saturday.
yeah,
in
their
Omaha.
family and friends are what pushed this. Same thing with you and your family and friends. So I think that's really where it has grown, is the bands that are getting involved in it and using that as a tool, which is what we want.
Well, I just hope to do a good job musically, and it's with y'all's help that allows us to access those other features.
That's
of that.
Adam and Angela and Jack.
I'm
They're
just
doing
saying,
most of that work.
we'll do hopefully our best part, but
Well, let's talk about that because, I selected bands that have original music. So that, has to be it. So first set, you guys will come out and you'll, promote the band, promote, who you are, what you do, but then you're also going to be able to be in a setting where you don't have to worry about the crowd not knowing what you're playing because they know this is going to be original music. Hey, I want to hear the, Skinnerd or, Freebird, that can all come later.
But that's in the best of ways, though, I feel like when we're at our best as a band, we're basically playing 3 songs to every 5 original songs.
Really? So you're
And
playing
then
3
when
covers
they-
to 5
No,
originals?
so three originals per 5 songs. So like 3 and 2.
Oh, wow.
So like
Okay,
within
great.
5
That's pretty good.
songs,
Yeah.
we're kind of doing that anyway. And the more we play, like the more, I wouldn't say eclectic, but more pointed sometimes with our time.
And they probably
when we choose those covers, depending upon the show, the crowd, like what we're doing. And again, I think that's what makes us our best is when like we never really have set lists. We just kind of let's go.
That's what I was going to ask you.
We'll name out 2 or 3. We'll kind of know 2 or 3 what we're doing. And then when those are done, maybe get a tune up and grab a quick drink. And then, okay, yeah, let's do it.
Do you come back later and put it on paper, what you played?
No.
Do you record yourself while you play?
No.
You know what I was going to ask you was this, like if you end a song in the key of E and it's a cover tune, and then you've got one of your originals that starts off in the key of E. Yeah. So without a break.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about it.
Do you tag it together and blend it? So everyone in the crowd, they're still thinking they're listening to Peter Frampton.
So I don't want to give
really
away.
It's you.
I don't want to give away all our fucking secrets.
You know these secrets, don't you?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we got to move along. I got to touch on a couple of things here.
It's a good thing. Move away from that.
Number one is I want to let everybody know out there that does listen to this show that the Old Number Fives were voted 3rd best looking band in Kansas City.
The most desirable sex object in Kansas City.
You guys are the best looking band in Kansas City.
3rd best looking band.
How did you guys do that? Did you do a lot of nasal hair trimming? Was there a lot of waxing that went on for that event? Tell us a little bit how you guys planned that.
The biggest thing you can do is make that splash, like we said, guys.
Right.
And so if you have to blunt-faced lie to somebody about something to get them to engage with you, then you need to do it.
That's great. So
well, if you're going to lie, why can't we just put first in there?
Because it's self-deprecating humor to my own demise.
It's like on Monopoly when you win $10 for second place in the beauty contest.
You feel bad for me for being 3rd, but you're also ingratiated because I shared that with you.
And they also look at him and go, God, I can see why you only took 3rd.
No, that's the best. That's the second part of the joke. Is like, you guys should have seen the other bands.
I knew there was a reason that got put on this list. So
that's funny.
And the other thing I wanted to talk about too was, in the coming months, you guys got some big shows besides Briarcliff that you'd like to announce on here. Briarfest 8. You guys do anything for the holidays?
I mean, maybe.
big stuff you want anybody to know?
We make a deduction.
No. Honestly, I would just say we're going to be playing a lot, and we don't even know when that is.
I like that. And then tell people also how to get in contact with you.
So
where do they find you?
I would love to say that our website is up to date, gentlemen, but it is 100%
Can I just give them your
not.
cell number?
Yeah, you can go ahead and just post that.
It still works. I was on there just this morning.
It's functional, but there is no information.
You can buy an album.
You can?
I think so.
Oh man!
Then that
See, we've got out of the selling music like CDs, physical CDs. A, because we don't have any right now, and B, because
nobody buys CDs.
Nobody buys CDs, and we only have T-shirts. So that's part of my joke too. Is now like, hey folks, we're not musicians anymore. We sell T-shirts. Come buy our shit.
Is there a place though that people can stream your music or download your music?
Oh, it's all over all the platforms. And this is another just a side comment. You guys need to go ahead and download Napster because it pays artists more than basically any other streaming service. So what you thought was defunct Napster that started the whole streaming.
I remember, sure.
MP3, whatever. Go ahead and download that sumbitch, and I can get maybe like a little bit more money.
Like,
6 cents?
No, you're not going to get 6 cents.
God, you get like on a penny.
But it sounds really dumb, but this is my moment to get on the soapbox. Is like, I'm never going to make money off of any of those things, but I make enough to keep it online. It basically pays for itself for about a year, but it's like I'm never making a profit.
It takes 1.4 million downloads to make minimum wage. I've done the math.
It's fine though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the part of the dream though. It's like,
but you're moving up that list.
I mean,
true enough.
Like, having music on there is part of one of those stepping stones, and so like as a band, I'm very happy to say that we have 3 albums that you could listen to.
If you can get on someone's listening list,
sure,
that's a bigger animal. Mm-hmm. You can see things change.
And then it's also not your job to worry about that, though. You know, my job is to play the shows, work on music, try to be a family man.
Whose job is it to worry about the other stuff?
God.
My mom.
God.
God,
if you listen, help!
Okay,
my
so
God's either happy
Old
or
Number
pissed off, I'll tell you that.
That's Facebook and Instagram also.
Correct.
And there's you.
Look for the 3rd best looking band.
I love it.
I mean,
the third best looking band in Kansas City.
Third best looking band in Kansas City.
You can find them every other week at BBs?
Every third Thursday.
Third Thursday. But then parts of your band,
fourth,
you and or Adam are playing in with all
Thursday.
kinds of different bands all the time.
I mean, I think
which
that's
is great.
That's
I love
a beautiful thing about. So I'll give the shout out to Adam. Like again, I'm a little bit more inclusive, and Adam is very outgoing, and so like there's a lot of people that I know now specifically because of Adam's outgoingness, and so I think even specifically like Adam's been in the band since about like 2017 ish, but there's a whole mountain of work that was done with previous members of this band, and so I would be ill-equipped to stand up here and say I have all the credit for that. And so, those other people have obviously helped me get to this point, some of which are no longer even living right now. So it's like there is a situations where
that's cool.
that like I'm a third of whatever the old number 5s is. And
that's
I'd
cool.
be the first
you're
to say
still
that.
part of you're the glue, I think.
I'm just the oldest number 5.
Well, that's cool
I
that
think
you played
in
homage
talking
to them.
and I talk to Adam from time to time, and I mean, one of the comments is, I'll check with Brock, so there's that. And the other thing I was going to comment too on was, I think it was your connect that not just for the old number 5s, but now for multiple bands throughout Kansas City are ending up down in Martin City at the volleyball beach.
Mm-hmm.
Hit that real quick.
So that, I think just out of the blue, Howard, who runs Volleyball Beach there, asked for a band because somebody had seen us somewhere. I think down in Lynn Valley, Kansas. And they like got our information. He asked us to come and play. And honestly, the first week we played, he was like, "Can you guys do this every week?" And at the time we were like, "Man, we play a lot already, like maybe every other week or something like that." He's like, "Okay, cool." And then it kind of morphed into the only other band they had who I don't know. He was like, "We had a lot of complaints." And I was like, "Wait, about us?" He's like, "No, about the other band." So he kind of let the other band go.
Go ahead and say their name. You can do that.
I don't know, honestly. But so
4 to 7 on Sundays.
So 4 to 7 on Sundays, but there's a different band every week. And I know that we've kind of had a large part. And again, that's more just Adam and just knowing people and being, it's like everybody, just be nice to everybody else.
Yes.
It's a very simple
It's
concept.
a great gig. I saw you guys there. I got, not last weekend before I was there, I got to see Howard play with Jimmy and JoJo, and Sean was in on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Stranded in the City played up there on that little deck. I mean, it's just a lot of fun.
And honestly, I think sometimes when I'm at my best, personally, performance-wise, it's like I'm just trying to be a comedian. And so like in between stuff, I'll like just try to get people's attention because they're playing volleyball, and they'll hand me like somebody's, order. And it's like, "Okay, hey, Marty, your fries are ready. Good call on the ranch, Marty. Like really good." And so like as a musician, again, like
they set all that food down on that table.
I feel like I'm like the Beatles in Hamburg though, when they're just like having fun and not famous. Like imagine that. Like again, like I said earlier, like I would love to be playing like Lollapalooza or something tight, something real fucking cool. But I'm playing gigs and like I get to like enjoy things like these small little moments that they're just stories to me, but it's like, there's so much life in all these little gigs and things
brother.
like that.
Well said. I love that. Well, and it is, and it's a good thing now. People are coming they don't care about the volleyball. They're coming to see the bands at this little joint. I mean,
we played yesterday. They were Nick Schneblin, and that's also
really,
that's another thing too, where like I've got to this point in my life where like I am living my dream. Like I'm playing with people that are far superior to me musically.
Been around longer,
and yet I get to be a part of that and almost the like ringleader of it all.
And you're near sand,
which
is kind of give you the illusion of like being in LA, maybe almost close to the beach. Maybe
what it usually is I'm like sweating through my knees, and it's like, well, I know this is hot.
Your knee.
This is bad.
All right, Robert. Why don't you take us out of here, and we'll come back and listen to a little music here.
We want to thank everybody for tuning in to Kansas City Limits with our special guest, Brock Alexander.
Thank you.
Remember, be good to yourself, be good to others, and be good to musicians. We'll see you next time on Kansas City Limits Radio.
Amen.
All right. Sounds good. This is the first song I ever wrote. It's called It Keeps Happening. If I can remember it. Fully loaded, there was nothing to say. Looking for something to get you off my mind. Beautiful legs, right, this song's called Purdy. If only I'd known, if only we'd grown together instead of apart. If only we'd shown a little more love, we wouldn't be here from the start. But you just said, I owe those apologies. Now that I know, just let me go. Be the man I should be. But I know that'll grow. Does it show I miss my buddy? Baby, if only I'd known, if only I'd grown to love the exception. If only I'd shown a little more love, baby, we could be perfection. But you just gave I all the apologies. But now that I know, just let me go to be the man I should be. But I know that'll grow. Does it show I miss my purdy? My baby, my lovelies, my baby.
That's a good tune. A little Jack Johnson going on in there.
Okay, this song is called Two Souls. I got two souls and I'm driving in the sun, thinking of you, girl. You're gonna be my only one. You wanna keep dirty, but we're trying to stay clean. Girl, when you know me, you're gonna know what you mean, know what you mean, know it. I got two souls and I'm driving in the sun. Well, I got two boys, for now they're my only ones. You wanna get dirty, but you try to stay clean. Boys, when you know me, you already know what I mean. Know it. Well, I got two souls and I'm driving in the sun, thinking of you, girl. You're bound to be my only one. You wanna get dirty, but we're trying to stay clean. Girl, when you know me, you already know what I mean. Know it. Know it. Know it. Know it. Know, babe. Did I do it? Did I do it?
That was outstanding.
You know, a couple clunkers, but.